and this is Connected Capital, a video series in which we look to shine a spotlight on an area of sustainability. In each episode, I'm joined by an expert from the fields of science, academia, industry, finance, policy or philanthropy, in order to explore the connections within and between human capital and natural capital worlds, and understand the deployment of financial capital and how that can help restore, protect and preserve our world for those to come. Today I'm joined by Ben Snee, CEO of LGT Wealth Management. Thanks for joining us, Ben.
Pleasure.
So the vision behind this video series is to draw out the importance of connecting often very different worlds or spheres and thinking about their importance in driving long-term and sustainable change. You're clearly CEO of a very, very large wealth management business. We're running around 30 billion here in the UK, and we're part of a much wider global business, LGT. Can you talk about that influence and the importance that you see in your role of steering the ship and what kind of landscape we're moving towards?
Yes, I mean, it's a role with a lot of responsibility. I see my primary role, aside from the commercial side of the business, it is really to disseminate the values that the owner has across the business. We have a lot of influence with the money that we manage, the 30 billion, which has been, I guess, 16 years in the making since we launched back in 2008. And the money that we invest for our clients has the ability to do a lot of positive things, as well as obviously adding to our clients' wealth and preserving their wealth, which is what our business is about. From a personal perspective, I wouldn't want to be in a business that didn't focus on things beyond just the commercial side of what we do. I think it's vitally important. I find it inspirational that we have the latitude to use the fortunate position that we're in and the money that we look after for our clients to do positive things, as well as adding value for them.
And that idea around wealth being more than just investment value and that value to society and the environment, and potentially deploying capital to tackle some of those issues, which for some of our clients is absolutely crucial to their wealth. That's very different to the outside perception of the financial industry.
Yes.
And can you just talk about whether we believe as a business we have a role in starting to change some of those perceptions?
Yes, I think we absolutely do have a role. And if you look at our ownership structure with the princely family of Liechtenstein and Prince Max as the family member who's most involved with the business, he is personally passionate about philanthropy, about sustainable investing and doing things beyond just advancing the family's commercial interests. And part of the reason that we came together with LGT initially was because that came across very clearly from Prince Max when we met with him. We had a very productive meeting where it was clear that there was alignment of thought in how we approach the industry. And to me, that was inspiring, because having built a business from scratch and put a lot into it and taken a risk and brought people on a journey to try and do something a little bit different in the wealth management space, letting go of that is quite an emotional thing. And so to meet a group who could see beyond, I guess, short-term profits, and I think there are inherent conflicts with listed businesses and private equity-backed businesses, for example, and the family allow us to look beyond that and align our interests with clients and focus on things that are a little bit different.
Yeah.
And that was inspiring to me.
It's sort of that wider definition of profit and success, isn't it? And it not just being financial profit, but profitable for future generations, restoring the planet.
Yes, and the family are 900 years old. I mean, they've been doing this, preserving the family's wealth for so long, and they've obviously been financially very successful, that their priorities are different, you know. So they think about the next generation, as per the strapline, and from Prince Max's perspective, it's about his son coming into a business that he can be proud of. It's about having a legacy. It's not about short-term financial gain, and that different perspective causes different behaviours, and it's something that disseminates right through the business and ultimately to the client. And I think it's a very positive thing for the client. And from my perspective, every time I meet somebody and interview them, or we had last week an induction, a lunch with the new joiners, 30, 40 people, and we talked about this, and it's something you can be passionate about, and it separates us from what other people are doing. So I think it's a privilege. It aligns with my interest personally. I think it's the right thing to do. It's a responsibility, having all this money to look after for clients, and the family's sort of stewardship and approach resonate with that and allow us to focus on this a little bit. And it's actually a differentiator in the market.
And do you think it's had an impact on you personally since you've been running the business since 2016 when LGT bought us? And do you see a difference to how you were previously running it?
For me personally, a sort of tipping point was going to Freudenfels, which I know you've been to as well, and having the climate conference there, Drive for Impact, I think it was called, where we had a lot of inspirational speakers, and they really explored the subject. And that's an academy, a facility that the family back and use it to disseminate this view to people internally, not indoctrination, but providing information, but also to clients. And I found that sort of opened my eyes a little bit towards particularly the climate side of things. But I've always had an interest in it, and try and have an empathy and do things beyond just making the business successful commercially, which obviously is a focus. It's a commercial enterprise. Yeah. But there's a way of doing things where you can balance it, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So something else that we look to explore in this video series is the connectivity between different industries. Yep. You've taken our business from 0 to 30 billion in 16 years, which is obviously nothing short of extraordinary. Can you talk about the most important connections that you see as part of that journey, whether it's outside the industry, inside the industry? What's enabled that growth to really happen?
In terms of connections and things that have allowed me to do that, I mean, we talk to, as you know, a vast number of people within the industry and outside the industry as part of our day-to-day jobs. You know, for example, we've recently made a relationship with Goodwood for our event down there, and focusing on a sustainable element of running the estate. And I get to meet with Lord March, or I think he's now known as the Duke of Richmond, who's very passionate about running the estate sustainably, and we're the sponsor of a race that's run on sustainable fuel, because motor racing, as you pointed out at the beginning, Phoebe, might not be synonymous with sustainability, but we've sort of looked at it through a slightly different lens. And those sort of external contacts are influential and well connected, are important and you know, inspirational. But aside from that, I think in the industry, I get to meet with the other CEOs, and we, I think collectively, have quite an influence in what we can do, and that's powerful, and we can swap ideas. And you know, sustainability issue and investing clients' money is a sort of collective responsibility, and we're not trying to do it in isolation to further our competitive advantage. We genuinely want to make a difference. You know, Prince Max is very focused on net zero by 2030, and that's, as you know, embedded in our sort of objectives. And the more we can bring along with us from the industry, the better.
Yeah, and I think those sorts of initiatives, which are nothing short of pioneering, really do move the needle. It does put pressure on other businesses to start thinking about whether it's net zero by 2030, or more realistically, probably for other companies, net zero by 2050, putting some information and some detail behind that strategy. If they don't have any, and we're clearly leading the charge with some of the detail that we've got, it does put pressure on the wider industry.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and I mean, if we can come together collectively, the power that we have to influence the business into which we invest our clients' money is pretty awesome. Our group alone, LGT, you know, we have 30 billion in the UK, but globally they have 300 billion Swiss francs of assets. That's a lot of buying power and a lot of influence we can have. So we have a stewardship programme, as you know, very ably managed by our colleague Siobhan globally from London. So we can do that within the group. But if we can add to that with our peers in the sector, then the voice just gets louder. And that's where I think we can make a real difference. But people have to buy in, you know, outside of our business. So we talk to people and influence people and try and do that too.
Yeah. Can we talk about the benefit to clients of some of the connective networks that we have? We have a lot of clients that are entrepreneurs. So I think they've always been attracted by the fact that we're entrepreneurs in our own right. And there's a lot of networks that exist between our client groups. Now that's a huge benefit to being a client of ours and being able to tap into that. Can you give us some examples of how you've seen that benefit clients through the years?
Yes, I can. I mean, we have an investment in a business based in Bristol, which is a deep technology, biotech-based business led by somebody called Harry Destacroix, who we supported from an early stage. It's a spin-out from Bristol University. A lot of fascinating underlying businesses that he invests in as a founder of a biotech business that he exited. And we introduced clients to Harry and to a fund that invests in this at an early stage and have built a great relationship. And we take the clients down there. They're generally speaking entrepreneurs themselves who've run businesses in different sectors and like the idea of investing in early stage, but particularly if there's an impact element to it, and biotechnology and deep tech definitely provides that. And what you find is putting clients in that environment together where they're all passionate about something that can share ideas is very constructive. It's interesting, and it results in connections being made and networks expanding. We have a dinner after the events that we do down there, and the clients always get on and start to talk themselves, and it stimulates a lot of interesting discussion and relationships.
Yeah, and it's really clear from the sort of passion that you give that this amplification of impact, it's intangible impact, but it's that wider impact that we have as a business. And it's not about claiming it, but it's just about being proud that exists and those networks continue.
Yeah, I mean, from a personal perspective, again, I wouldn't want to lead a business that wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
Because it brings a different dimension to what you do, and you have to get out of bed in the morning and want to go to a business about which you feel proud and hopefully is a little bit different. If we can, lead our clients towards a way of investing their money that not only allows it to grow and look after their, future generations and grow their own wealth while they're alive, but also do something positive, or at least not damaging, then that's a fantastic opportunity, which we should grab with both hands, and indeed we're trying to do that. But equally, we have to be careful. We don't want to patronise clients.
Yeah. And a final question, Ben, we ask all the guests on the video series. This is about connection and building connections, as you know, between industries, between people. If you could suggest someone to come on next, sit on this sofa and talk to me and give their views, put you on the spot, who would you say that we should speak to?
Well, I'd suggest the person I mentioned earlier on called Harry Destacroix, who runs SCV, Science Creates Ventures, and I think it's called Science Creates Venture Capital now. He'll be much more articulate and interesting than I am, and he's so involved in businesses that are potentially truly transformational and touch a lot of the things that we've been talking about, that I think he'd be a good guest. So
Great.
I'd say Harry.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ben. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure.